Welcome back to the channel. Once again I am back down on Broadway's Meadow down at Barrow upon Soar. Today I'm going to be travelling or paddling the longer loops. There's 3 loops you can do from here, about 2.5 mile, 6.5 mile and somewhere around 10ish. I'm going to go for the 6 miler today. I'll put a map up if I can so you can see roughly where I am and what I'm doing. Whilst I'm here at Broadway's Meadow, I'll show you quickly over the way here. Hopefully you can see in this direction. This is where you come in, this gateway over here, and when you book your parking via the Paddle UK website, you get the code for the padlock on there. You can pull in and get just enough of your car off the road to safely open that gate. A couple of toilets there, and that little green box over in the corner, that's your cold water point. So down that end you can do some camping. They like you to be tucked out of the way, and that has to be arranged in advance. So already got the kayak inflated. I'm going to finish off setting it up now. Yeah, let's get out on the water and have an adventure. It's the first time I've done this loop, so the portages on this one, I don't know anything about them. You might not know anything about them, so we'll learn together, okay? Right, let's get to it. One thing that's more apparent this time around is the amount of these mats of Floating Pennywort that's up and down the river. It was getting a bit choked up last time. It's a lot worse now. Behind me is Barrow boats. Up ahead, this is the portage point that you might have seen in the short loop video to get back onto the River Soar, heading back around the corner on the short loop. We're going to be going straight on up that way to do the longer loop today. So we're ignoring this for now, but we'll be using this portage later. So, for the sake of understanding, that's where I've just come from. That's the where the Barrow boats direction is, up in there. And eventually you get down to this fork in the river here. One right fork, one left fork. And at this point, this is where I'm going to turn left to start making the cross of the figure 8. So I'm going to go down there now and I'm going to come back from that direction later. Morning. Morning, you alright? Going to take a moment to say, coming out of that section behind me where you turn left at that junction, my word, that is hands down some of the tightest, most exciting adventure type stuff I've ever done. There was bits where there was no width for my paddle, just a hull. If you're up for a bit of an adventure on the water, I'd highly recommend this loop so far. It's been brilliant up to this point. And again, the wind's getting me, so look, see, turn this around. See, I'm just going sideways and backwards. So that's a combination of the wind and the current. Wind being a real factor for an inflatable kayak. So I'm about to go into the bank now, so let's get paddling once again. Tight. Alright folks, I've come from that direction through some of the most exciting and tight paddling I've ever had to do, and I've reached this point where I can't go any further right now because that floating pennywort there, and there's a tree branch there, and it's quite a big branch. The only thing I can think of to do to try and keep going forward, you can see where I've put a dent just there in the pennywort, is to try and basically paddle into it. I just have to use my paddle a little bit to stop myself going backwards because I'm against the flow here. All I can try doing is ramming into it and paddling hard and see if I can shove it. So that's what I'm going to try do. This is going to go one of three ways. Either I can't get through and I have to turn around, or I get through and I can keep going, or I'm going to fall in and have to turn around. So one of those things is about to happen. I don't really have much choice because I don't really want to go back and retrace my steps. I'd rather finish this loop if I can. Let's give it a go. We're through. For obvious reasons, I couldn't hold my phone and do that, but I just got through there. I'm really quite pleased with myself. That's the direction I'm going, so you can see it's still pretty tight. But my word, this is turning into much more of an adventure than I was expecting. I'm really enjoying it. It's great fun. You just never know what's around the next corner on this leaf. It's marvellous. Right, onwards. Bloody hell. So this is where I've come off the water here. You can't help but be getting into very thick sticky mud right here today. That was hard work getting out from there. I don't know where else you could possibly get out around here. But the next thing I'm going to do is over this bridge. That's where I've come from. That's where I'm going, so at least it's nice and wide and should be fairly steady. Heading back in that direction now, and sit down for a bit and catch my breath and tell you a cautionary tale. But first off, just look at the state of this, all the crap that's been spattered all up my kayak. So there she is. Now then, earlier on you saw me shoving some floating pennywort out the way by paddling into it, and I rammed it a few times. Came across some more further up on that last stretch, and I don't know if I'll be able to include any of it in the final cut of this video, but it went really wrong. So learn from this mistake. Don't try riding over a raft of floating pennywort when you've got a skeg in. I got stuck and I didn't think I was actually going to get out there for a minute. It got really quite hairy and nerve-wracking. So yeah, lesson learnt there. Ram it out the way, don't go over the top of it unless you're skegless. It's not a good time. So anyway, boat just came past by. But yeah, it wasn't a fun time. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I had to paddle with all my might and use the paddle to try and then turn around and push the floating raft of weed down. So that portage that I've just done, let's go back to the paddle at hand, as we've got the rest of the journey ahead of us. It's taken me an hour and 20 minutes to do 2.5 miles so far, so I'm behind on time compared to where I was expecting to be. Let's turn you around and show you what we're doing next. So this is where I'm getting in. It's about a 3-foot drop into the water. I'm going to climb down and actually get into the water, but for today I actually remembered to put my sealskin socks on. They come up almost to my knee height, so they're keeping me nice and dry from the knee down, even though my trousers are full of water and my shoes are now full of mud. And these shoes are so knackered now I might have to chuck them. But so yeah, let's have a go at getting back on the water. I'll probably restart this video when I'm actually afloat, because it's hard work up here at the minute. Right, off we go. Two really ropey portages in a row. This lock is a pig. I did fall and hurt my shoulder quite a bit when I was getting out on that mudslide earlier on, so I'm struggling physically now. This is going to make the rest of this journey tough, considering I am maybe halfway and I'm hurt and I'm knackered. But I said it'd be an adventure, didn't I? So with this lock here, what I've done, I've put the boat in further out and brought it back right up to the bridge. And there's like these steps that get you lower to the water. There's the lock. It goes all the way out there. But just there, steps down, makes it a bit easier to get in. I am, yeah. No worries. Oh yeah, alright, no worries. What's this? So here we are coming back towards Barrow B, closing that bottom half of the loop. There's some houses over in the distance there that I recognise coming past them from earlier. And then just down there, that's, I believe, where I turned off and it got really tight. If it's not there, then it's just there in front of where that grey boat's moored up. Yeah, in fact it's that turning there. So just there, that little bit there before that van is where we turned off, and everything started to get a little bit gnarly. So yeah, closing the bottom half of that loop now. It's all good. Yeah. So I'm just doing the portage now, which is one of my favourite ones of all time, from the bottom end of the Grand Union Leicester navigation onto the River Soar. Behind me, you can just about see through the trees, there's the weir. There's the portage point that goes up those steps there, and then this pool that takes me back onto the Soar. I'm committing to doing this because I really do enjoy this section. And I've set the camera up in a different position, so I'll see if I can get some decent footage of this bit. I'm just hoping it's not going to be quite as snarled up as some of that other bit, because my left shoulder's really giving me some grief now. I could just go back up the canal and carry across to that short throw, but I've got 2 miles left, and in for a penny, in for a pound. You know, what damage he's done is probably already done, and 2 miles more ain't going to make a jot of difference. So let's see how we go, and see what footage we can get on the way up. Fingers crossed for relatively easy passage. We'll see. Right, I am not that far into this section. Look at the state of that. Well, that may be it for me. I might have to make that a turnaround point and go back to the way. The wind's actually pushing me backwards anyway. I am going into a headwind. There we go, look, drifting nicely away. This is all the wind doing this. What I think I might do, if I can find somewhere quick just down the way to get out, I might take the skeg out and attempt that. So I'll just let the wind point me in the right general direction. So that I was facing that way, that's downstream, this is now upstream, and I bet I'm going to do a nice little arc if I let it keep taking me. So a little stroke there. I'm going to go back and see if I can get out and take the skeg out, give it a shot, and if I can't get through, I'm just going to abandon this loop, because I feel like I've taken on a lot today already. Let's give it a whirl and see what happens. Well, I made it. GoPro fell in the water, so I'm not going to give any footage to show you of that. Crap on my face there, aren't I? Right, without the skeg, this is a lot less stable. It's very much more susceptible to the wind, and to be fair, doing any more videoing and talking to the camera is going to be nigh on impossible now, because I'm not getting out to put that skeg back in. I'm just going to power through and get back to the car now. I'll chuck a few bits more footage in after this little piece, but yeah, probably I'm not going to be able to do much more like this, because the boat goes where it wants, not where I want it to, as soon as I start paddling. I'll do a roundup when I get back to the car, put a bit more footage in here, but this is back on the Barrow short loop now, so yeah, cool. Right, let's crack on. At least I made it out of that bit over there. Toughest paddle I've ever done, this one. Hands down, toughest paddle I've ever done. I'll do a lessons learned at the end of this as well. Let's crack on, and I'll probably see you when I'm back at Broadway's Meadow. Made it back to Broadway's Meadow, which I'm quite happy about. That was a very enjoyable but very challenging paddle. Oh, in terms of lessons learned on that one, for me, that loop needs to be done early summer before the Pennywort starts choking up the river, and or needs to be done in a group. There were a couple of points on that. First, getting out on that mud slip portage point, and then latterly when I got myself stuck in the middle of a bed of Pennywort where I genuinely thought I was going to be in a spot of bother because I was on my own. In hindsight, I certainly wouldn't go charging into a bed of Pennywort that I can't push with the skeg attached. Having taken the skeg out for the last 2 miles or so, I found the Sandbanks Style Explorer was much twitchier. In terms of every little aspect of your paddle stroke, you have to think about it, because it really does influence the boat so much more when that skeg's not in there to keep it tracking. But my word, it made it so much easier going through those Pennywort bits. There were a couple of points where, let that train go by, a couple of points where I was skimming over the top of it and it didn't put up any resistance at all. I was just using my paddle as a lever against plant matter to push through, and yeah, it was a good choice to take the skeg out. I have to say, I think I've torn my rotator cuff in my left shoulder again, which is a problem. And to boot, I changed my batteries in my GoPro after I took the skeg out, and shortly after I took the skeg out, the camera fell in the water. When I changed those batteries, considering it's a GoPro Hero 5 Black, so it's old, but it should be watertight, there was a lot of water inside the battery compartment, which is why I hardly used it on the way back, because the water seems to be messing with the insides of it. So that GoPro may have had it. That's a problem for me because I can't currently afford to replace a GoPro, which means that's going to really hamper what I can do on this channel. So it is what it is. I'll see if I can salvage it. I've got so much stuff to go and clean and dry now because I am filthy. So as part of that, I ended up going into water up to knee depth, and I'm just a smidge over 6 foot, so you can guess yourself it was reasonably deep water, deeper than I'd anticipated going in. So yeah, future early summer, possibly with a group, ideally with a group, and I'd be wearing, rather than my usual combats, sealskins and wetsuit boots, a pair of shorts and some Crocs. It just dries off. I'm soggy and smelly now, so I'm going to pack up and I'm going to drive home. If you managed to stick it out this far with me rambling and talking about my calamities for today, thank you very much for watching. I really genuinely do appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. If you have enjoyed it, please consider hitting the like button or maybe even subscribing. It's up to you whether you do or not, but I, again, really thoroughly do appreciate it for those of you that do. Until next time, take care, stay safe, I'll see you again. Cheers.